Chairman present. We got Commissioner Levy present. We do have our Director Lawrence. We have Jason. We have our both attorneys, Attorney Smith and Attorney Hilton. And didn't get your name. Stauffer, sir. Neil. Okay. All right. And we do have some board members before us also. Okay. Now with that said and done, we do have quite a few in the audience, so I don't have to recognize those. So with that said and done, I'm going to turn it over to Attorney Erica or either Attorney Taylor, whichever one.
We're on the legal report, correct?
Okay. Yes, I believe so.
Does anybody have any questions? Do we want to start with that?
Come on, Chairman. I don't either.
Okay, number one, I guess just clarification. Something appears to be missing on that one. There's just not a lot of detail, and it's like this guy says he's going to do, his words is, the right way. So obviously he was doing it the wrong way. But he said he just liked cars and driving different ones. So now he's got a salesman's license. I guess my question is the guy going to be selling through the dealership, or does he think that's going to allow him to continue to sell cars?
Yeah, we had this discussion as well while we were talking about this case, and he stated that he's only going to be doing it through the dealership. He realized he was doing it in a recreational aspect before, where he was buying cars and switching them out, but he wants to kind of get more into the car world, so he's going to be doing it through the dealer. And then I was going to include strong language in that in the letter of warning, just informing him that he needs to ensure that he's not doing it on his own. Otherwise, it would continue to be unlicensed activity.
Correct. My only thought on that one. Number three, I guess I've not seen this before, but asking the executive director to preemptively close and flag any future complaints filed against the respondent in number three.
Is what we did with a previous case about 2 meetings ago, Erica, is that right?
We?
About 2 meetings ago, where the dealership was closed down and they were getting an influx of cases because they were just a large dealership. That way, they don't have to keep coming before you guys for you just to close and flag them over and over again. So it just kind of cuts down to the...
Denise, if Executive Director Lawrence is good with it, I am too.
Okay.
Number 9, I think I just wanted to add maybe flag the file for the F&I and the salesperson.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
Number 9, I would just recommend maybe flagging the file for the F&I and salesperson, because it seems to be that they were the ones that got...
Yeah, that had the problem with that.
They had the problem.
Okay.
Okay. Number 17, you know, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking the person was trying to get the title, you know, the title and all, but the auction was the problem. Aren't the auctions licensed too? And wouldn't we be citing the auction for not providing that?
I mean, that would be something that we haven't discussed before, but they are licensed through, would that still be through our auction license? Right. So that is definitely an option. Yeah.
It's interesting. We have 11 auctions. I've never heard that before, because we're pass-throughs. We do the pass-through. It's up to it's up to the selling dealer to provide the title. It's not up to the auction. So,
but again, at the same time, the dealer's trying to get it, and the auction's blocking it, and they're licensed.
It's the risk, the selling dealer, and it's up to them to provide the title. It's not a consumer involved. That's in the past, over the years, that really you don't get between two dealers. I mean, the state doesn't, never has. But I'd be curious to clear that up, because now we require all the auctions to have license.
And there's quite a few of those cases, isn't there? Like this.
Goes back to our earlier conversation. Things change.
And in this case, I think that we set $1,000 on it or something.
Yes.
You know, maybe we reduce it to $500, because it was an auction situation too involved in it, even though we don't have resolution to that. But if y'all want to leave it at $1,000, I'm okay. And
Well, we usually, like our standard penalty for a
500.
temporary tag is 500, and they did issue 2 more. So
right.
that's where that penalty is coming from. It would be making an exception here, where we normally don't.
And I guess the exception was because it was an auction. It wasn't like anywhere else they were trying to get it from. And I just feel like that, I feel strongly we need to talk about that at some point, about an auction supplying that and not leaving a dealer susceptible to getting fined.
I think we can kind of view them as 2 different issues, because we're not fining them necessarily for being late on issuing the title. We're fining them because they ignored how many temporary tags they can issue. They had other resolutions they could have done with this vehicle, and they decided to issue 2 temporary tags over what they're allowed to do. But I think if you wanted to look into the auction as well, you can vote to open a new complaint against them, and we can investigate them. That could be on the next legal report.
I agree. I think that's a great opportunity,
I think
because
that's
at the end, it serves the customer. We're here to protect the consumer.
That's right.
And let me tell you, of course, we have 11 auctions, but I'm just telling you, and a lot of times the auctions will take a passive role on this, and they will, and it creates a further hardship for the consumer. Not to put any more burdens on the auction, but they are licensed dealers, and they're pass-throughs. And I've been in litigation, they're all considered just pass-throughs. They don't get caught up in the same thing. But anyway, it would be something to explore to determine if we can improve the experience for the consumer, because a lot of these complaints, there's several in here related to that are pass-throughs from the auction.
Yeah, we see that a lot.
Yeah.
That the auction is causing the delay.
And one note, we're kind of pass-throughs too. We don't,
We'll be beholden to the consumer, though.
we do. We directly deal with them, but there's public auctions that do also.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's something new that needs to be looked at for sure. I agree.
So we might investigate. I don't really care if we do it the 500 or 1,000. It doesn't bother me, but I do think we need to open an investigation on the auction.
Yeah, we can do that and then get more details and present it on the next report.
But what does anybody want to do on the money? I don't care.
I would agree with the staff. If we start making some exception with these penalties, and when our penalty says this is what we're supposed to, they had 4, so I think we need to stick with the $1,000.
Good with that.
Does any
Agree,
commission?
agree,
Okay,
agree.
thanks.
The last one I've got is number 31. I believe it was something to do with it was multiple temporary tags again, and there was no documentation, I think, on how many they put out. And I guess my question is, doesn't Easy Tag help keep up with that?
Can you repeat which number?
Number 31.
31, okay, I'm sorry. So yes, I was just letting you know that in the response, they didn't state how many temporary tags that they issued, but we investigated it through Easy Tag, and that's where we got the 3 temporary tags. Yeah.
Okay. I'm good with that then. I just wanted clarification. I really don't have anything else.
Well, I just had a question about that one in 25 where the dealer issued 11. Where are we on Easy Tag limiting how many they can?
And also, we looked into number 25 as well, into their system. This is originally that number was from a investigation report we received, and then we looked into it, and it was actually only 12 that they issued. One was a duplicate that was just included in the investigator's report. So it should read 12 instead of 13 for number 25.
We're still at
No.
two
So it should be
temporary
10
tags.
over what they'd issued.
Has it ended now that we can do 2
I wrote
and
11,
3
but it
if we
should
have
say
to?
10 because we found out later after this report was submitted. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chair.
I'm sorry.
No. Sorry,
I
was
thought
just
y'all were finished.
No. Sorry, I was just correcting that we found out after we submitted this report that the investigation report had just included a duplicate, and it actually should have just been they issued 12 instead of 13, so they were 10 over instead of 11 over. So it should be $500. So it should just be $5,000 instead of $5,500.
Okay. Are we still on the 2 temporary tags with the third as a possibility?
No,
That's
we
just
were
one.
we were just notified
okay.
that
Wait a minute.
one
That's
60
right.
day.
Can you clarify that, please?
Yes, sir, Commissioner. We were, as Erica mentioned, we were just notified about 3 weeks ago by Revenue to take information down from our website that said, as of now, Revenue was allowing the disbursement of an additional 60-day tag. And that was sort of to get everybody over the hump of when the law changed from the 30-day tag to the 60-day tag. So they have made the determination that going forward, it will just be one temporary tag for a 60-day period.
Hey, that's news to me. I wasn't aware of that, and the dealer bodies in Tennessee are not aware of that. What would be the best way to get that information out?
I can try to send out a little blurb or something to all of the dealers that are on our mailing list and advise them of the change. And the change in the law happened in 2022, and there was so much confusion. 2022 or 2021, I'm sorry. And there was so much confusion that Revenue had determined they would allow the distribution of an additional tag for just a period of time, but I guess they've determined that time is now up. So yes, I will put together something and get it out to all of the dealers.
I'm going to recommend too, Chairman, that we push that to the trade associations, which would be TAA and NIDA or TNIDA, to make sure they push it on their newsletters. Because I'm telling you, the body of dealers is not aware of that. They're still pushing temporary tags out to 60-day tags. I know we are. So that'll cease as of today.
And not to pick on any particular county court clerk, but I've heard Memphis a lot. And is Memphis getting any better so that we can?
No, they are not. They're horrible. I don't know what we're going to do about that, but if we can find any kind of authority to get something done there. We sell about 700 cars a month in Memphis retail, and I'm telling you, we battle that every day. I give people their money back. You know, we can't tell them. We can't tell them tough luck. I mean, they're our consumers, so we give them the option, give them their money back, or put them in a rental car. So Memphis is something. Shelby County is a problem. It's duly noted in the state, but I think if there's anything we as a staff can do to address Shelby County for continuing those 2 60-day tags, would be greatly appreciated.
Executive Director Lawrence, can you have that conversation with Revenue or?
Absolutely, I certainly can. And I sort of suspect that Memphis is a unique case, and I sort of suspect that they're being more lenient with Memphis, but I will definitely ask that question. And
I don't think the rest of us are having a problem. We are, speak up, but I think it's mainly Memphis.
It's Shelby County. We don't have any problems anywhere else in the state.
I think there needs to be leniency for those people, okay?
Well, and you still have the option of contacting the Department of Revenue and pleading your case for an additional tag. And I don't know of any instance where they denied that when it was warranted.
Mr. Norton here, we have a 60-day backlog with Shelby County. So we battle it every day. We're allowed 8 walkthroughs a day. We walk through 8 a day, and we still backlog. So it's that critical.
We're only allowed 8 walkthroughs?
8 walkthroughs a day.
At the county clerk?
At the county clerk. Yes. The rest of them we have to drop off. And we can't go. We've asked if we could go to other municipalities. You can't. It breaks state law, so we've checked into that too. So if the consideration could be there to address the fact that Shelby County needs some help, I'd appreciate that, because we're relying on those 2 60-day tags.
Okay.
Glad we clarified that.
Thank you very much.
My question though, anything of the tags, is it
So
the computer not to issue any more
we
than
have
one
spoke
tag?
with the Department of Revenue about that. Erica specifically has sent over this information from previous legal reports about dealers that are having a frequent problem with this, and how trying to get a little bit more information on how they're getting in there and issuing these extra temporary tags. We don't have much more information from them to report at this time, but we are in the process of working with the Department of Revenue, trying to get more information and seeing how they're working around this.
John, you have questions, of course.
Well, just to continue, I've got a few others, but on 25, that we've got a lot of attention, but I'm assuming the dealer's license has expired in April of 23, and it doesn't indicate whether he ever renewed his license.
He's not renewed and he's
Okay.
not selling.
Okay, so he is out of business. Okay, also on number 4, was the surety bond offered on number 4?
What number was that?
Number 4?
4. You asked if the surety bond was issued.
Mark that same one.
Let me look up in the
Yeah,
folder. I would assume yes, because the initial people that obtained the complaints, they issue that anytime in this kind of situation. But let me just double check the folder and make sure.
Number 7? Are you still checking number 4?
It says it was sent, but I'll double check with them
Okay,
just to
good.
ensure that it went.
These poor borrowing companies are getting hammered this day and time. Makes me wonder if they have if they have enough for coverage for all these people who don't get their titles. Number 7, it was authorizing an issue a letter of instruction, reminder, respond to inform known conditions of vehicle to potential purchaser. I'm not sure that, and this is a question for legal staff, that there's any requirement for a dealer to disclose something that's publicly available to them. So I was concerned of that because I've said this many times. These reports that are fed by billions of data streams, they're not reliable. Carfax is not the gospel. It shouldn't be relied upon for anything other than just information. So I wouldn't call that withholding, and I'd be curious to know if anybody else had an opinion of that. They didn't provide a minor a Carfax. Not every dealer does. I mean, CarMax doesn't give you a Carfax; they give you another report. So I think that was something. The letter of instruction was, in my opinion, not necessary.
Yeah, our thought process kind of was, if they know about the damage and they're I know you said it's not necessarily withholding it, but they're not informing them, and if the customer is asking about it, a letter of instruction is not discipline; it's just kind of encouragement. So that's kind of where our thought process was with it. But I'm open to.
Well, I read the complaint a couple of times to make sure that they didn't acknowledge knowing it. The dealer didn't. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's just. I mean, yeah, I get it. I mean, but that's just not a scope of what we do. As far as that, we're not required. It's not a statutory thing to require them to release to acknowledge public information. I mean, there's unscrupulous dealers, but this clearly didn't appear to be that. But that's just my recommendation.
Yeah, and we discussed this one numerous times as well. We went back and forth from dismissing it and issuing a letter of instruction. We just kind of landed on the letter of instruction just for you guys to discuss. But
I mean,
yeah,
I'll
I'm open to
defer.
both. I see both arguments.
Now, if you guys discussed it thoroughly, sounds like you did, I'll defer to the staff on that. So I just duly noted.
Good. Well, any more comments?
Okay.
Question?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We got 12 minutes,
Oh,
Commissioner.
okay.
All right, so on 23, the bond was canceled on this dealer, and now it appears that the dealer continued to operate, but with a bond canceled, wouldn't he have to renew that bond to have a valid license?
This is on number 23, you said?
Number 23, yeah.
Your question?
Well, unless I've got my notes confused here, I've got this down. Was the bond canceled? Did I read in this one somewhere where the bond had been canceled?
I don't know if I'm missing that. I'm just going to read over it again. I know they received a payout from the surety bond.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay, now I remember my notes. Yeah. So I was on an airplane at 40,000 feet. My apologies. That might have been auction, but it looks like to me if this bond would have been canceled, if possibly. Anyway, that's a long shot.
We don't have any information about that.
Got it. Yeah, sorry about that. All right. On 42, looks like it's a continuation of 43, 44, and 45. All these cases look connected, and that's the question. Are they connected, and was there a bond involved?
They are connected, and there was a bond involved,
okay.
Yes.
All right. It didn't state that, and I was just curious. Okay. On 71, and I'm currently in a situation related to something similar to this, but in the verbiage of the, it says, recommends issuing a letter of warning for unlicensed activity, noting that vehicles cannot be sold in Tennessee for a dealer in Arkansas. I sell probably 20 cars a month in Arkansas, 30 cars a month in Mississippi, and we do e-contracting. I don't think that's a correct statement. I think any dealer can sell another car in any state. So I just took, so that's not unlicensed activity. Now the respondent advertising on Facebook. Now, if that's on that respondent's Facebook, and resides in Tennessee, and he's selling an Arkansas car, that would be correct. Now that the respondent would be, but the dealer selling cars and advertising in other states, not anything that would be wrong.
So a licensed Arkansas dealer can sell vehicles
Absolutely.
in Tennessee? Okay.
Any licensed dealer can sell any car in any state. It's e-commerce. We sell them all over the country. Every dealer does. So I just thought that
Oh,
was.
yeah, these were physically, like the
Oh,
car.
well, it didn't say.
Yeah.
Okay, it didn't say
Well,
the cars were physically sit. Okay, that's what I didn't understand.
That's what the clerk thinks, and I think some of the consumers that have brought the paperwork there
Okay.
have said that. That's why I stuck with the letter of warning, because
Okay.
it's,
Okay.
I just thought, we'll warn
In our
them.
state and display it.
No display. No. But it wouldn't. You've got a short narrative. I was just picking them.
Some of the vehicles are like with the mechanic in Tennessee,
Yeah.
and they're being sold through the Arkansas dealer, but the consumer is coming to that mechanic in Tennessee and picking up the car there.
Okay. All right. That I just.
At least that's what
this-
it seems,
Okay.
based on what we have.
Just the verbiage in there, it was a
Okay,
little
I'm sorry
concerning.
about that.
No, it's okay. There wasn't enough information, and I spent a lot more time than I normally do on looking at specific things like that. And that statement just basically says you can't sell a car in another state, and you just can't display it in another state. So it just
Correct. Yeah, we don't issue any discipline for people
So
doing
I
it.
will definitely clarify.
E-commerce, yeah, we don't regulate
that.
Right,
interstate
right.
commerce and
I
things like
just wanna
that on
s-
the internet. Yeah, no.
When I saw that, I went, "Oh, that's." I
you're
just didn't
absolutely
like
right.
that statement. Okay. All right. Last one is on number 110. It was related to a Tennessee dealer not collecting sales tax. And if I'm not mistaken, it is required by state law. If a licensed dealer sells a car, he has to collect the sales tax. Correct?
I'm just reading over this one.
Okay. So the dealer did something wrong, just in the fact that he didn't collect sales tax. So, the letter of instruction, it says failure to disclose the registration payment information. Well, he's required to disclose it and collect it. So that was just a.
Okay, if you want to go above a letter of instruction, we can do that, but I can also just add, you're right, I just missed failure to disclose and
and collect.
obtain it. Yeah.
Obtain it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm just making general
I'll add the word
comments.
and obtain
Okay.
to it
All
as
right.
well.
Sorry to be picky today, but
No, that was a good catch. I just wrote
had a
failure
long
to
flight.
disclose.
Had a
It
long
should have said
flight.
disclose
Plenty
and
of time
obtain.
to
Yeah,
go
no.
through these.
Unfortunately. for us.
Unfortunately, sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No, that was a good catch. I missed to write and obtain, so thank you for that.
But
That's all.
overall, you all did a really good
Yes.
job.
Oh, as always, yeah. This is really good stuff.
Yeah.
Mr. Levy, okay? Okay, with any other comments?
No, sir.
Was a good report, excellent.
Good report.
Excellent. So with that said and done, I guess we need a motion subject to the full commission to adopt the report.
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
second? All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, ayes have it, so ordered. And there's nothing else being said, we can declare that this part of the meeting is adjourned. Do we need a motion to do that, Director? Oh, okay. Thank you.
We will start our meeting, our quarterly meeting. Commission, and we are starting at 9:30. It's our regular quarterly meeting. And if Executive Director Lawrence will call the roll, please, at this time.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Andrews
Here?
is present. Commissioner Elam
Present.
is present. Commissioner Galvin
Present.
is present. Commissioner Jackson
Present.
is present. Commissioner Kramer is present. Commissioner Levy
Present.
is present. Commissioner Melton
Present.
is present. Commissioner Norton
Present.
is present. Commissioner Owens
Present.
is present. Commissioner Speaker
Present.
is present. Commissioner Vaughn
Present.
is present. Commissioner West
Present.
is present. And Chairman Roberts.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. The meeting notice went out. You want to speak to that?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This meeting's date, time, and location have been noticed on the Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission website, included as part of this year's meeting calendar since November 20th, 2022. Additionally, the agenda for this month's meeting has been posted on the Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission's website since October 18th, 2023. It's also been noticed on the tn.gov website.
Okay, we need to adopt the agenda for today. Do we have a motion?
Commissioner Jackson, motion to adopt the agenda.
Commissioner Vaughn, second.
Okay, any further discussion on the agenda? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then we need to approve the minutes. What's your pleasure on the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes, Commissioner West.
Second, Commissioner Galvin.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We are getting into now the salesperson dealer appeals. Would you like to address us on that?
Mr. Chairman, the first appeal we have is Byron Massey. This is a conviction for conspiracy to distribute 50 grams or more of methamphetamine. The commission would have discretion to deny until October of 2026. And if the applicant is here at this time, if the commission would like to hear from the applicant.
Absolutely. You can stand at the little podium. And if you brought somebody with you, they can stand near you, and then we'll hear from them in a moment. Would you state your name for us?
Byron Massey.
Okay. Would you like to address us on the issue at hand?
Yes, sir. I just would like to get the sales license, obviously, just to be able to move forward in a career that I've chosen to have. For the past year and a half, I've been with Volunteer Auto Group over the BDC department, working the phones, just helping get the customers into the store and things like that. For the last 2 months, they've upgraded me to manage that, and obviously just want to be able to move forward in it, and obviously I need.
Talk a little closer.
Oh, sorry. And obviously, I made a bad decision, when I was young and things like that. I've done the time and everything like that. I've also completed my parole on that situation since. So, and that was when I was 21 years old. I'm 32 now. I got a family and things like that. So obviously, I'm just trying to move forward and be able to move forward in my career.
Oh, we've got at least Commissioner Vaughn with a question or two.
As always. Commissioner Vaughn, have you been in any trouble since this conviction?
No, ma'am.
Did you make restitution for if it was required?
Yes, ma'am. Everything that I owe and everything's paid. Like I said, I did a 7-year sentence and then 4 years parole after that. I've completed that as well. No problems.
Were you using drugs or just selling drugs?
I was selling drugs, and obviously using them as well. So but not anymore. Obviously, definitely learned my lesson. Very bad decision, and I've pretty much just made it a point to be able to do the right thing and work and stuff like that. So that's ever since I've been out, I've maintained a job, sturdy job. Before starting the Volunteer Auto Group, I was working at Mastercraft, and I was over the gel coat department there. Come in there, I worked there for 2 years, and ended up being a team lead there. So got the opportunity to be part of Volunteer Auto Group, and I've been there ever since. So.
But it has been 10 years since your
yes,
arrest?
Sir. I was arrested in 2013, so.
Okay. Other questions? Okay. Okay, we'd like to hear from the manager that you brought with you.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Would he come up and talk to us for a moment?
Thank you, guys.
Would you state your name?
My name is Philip Ryan Massey, and it's unique because we share the last name, but we are of no relation. I'm actually the CEO of Volunteer Auto Group and have been for quite some time. I have 5 dealerships in eastern Tennessee, and I've never personally attended these. Byron, he displays humility when he stands up here before you. This man is not the same man that was convicted of this, and that's why I personally came. I've always had a knack of hiring people that's had a troubled past before, because my father did, and I was able to change kind of the course of my family's life. And I've always had a program that I've utilized that took people that's been in trouble before. And so we've been here many times, but not me personally. But I wanted to personally bring Byron here today to speak before you, because this man's done a lot in the community that we're in. We're in a small Blount County community, and he runs one of the football programs there. He's with children all the time, and he's been great for me. I make people complete 2 years before, if they've been sentenced before they come into work for me to adjust to life outside. But once you've done that and you can come, you got to start at the bottom and work your way up. And he's done that and exceeded every task that I've put on his plate. And that's why I personally wanted to bring him today. I wanted to be able to put him in sales management immediately. I wouldn't be putting him in a salesperson because he's done a great job at what he's done, and I want him to be one of the faces of my department, of my team, and I hope you guys give me the ability to be able to do that.
Questions for Mr. Massey? Hey, thank you for coming
Thank you very
before
much.
us. What's your pleasure on the appeal?
Make a motion, we approve the license.
Commissioner Jackson, second it.
Got a motion and a second. Executive Director Lawrence, will you call the roll on this appeal?
Yes, sir. The motion is to approve licensure for Mr. Massey. Commissioner Levy?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner West?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Melton?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Elam?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Andrews?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Speaker?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Galvin?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Vaughn?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Jackson?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Owens?
Aye.
Votes aye. And Chairman Roberts?
Aye.
Votes aye. Mr. Massey, your application for licensure has been approved, and we will email you an electronic copy today.
Okay, before we call the next, talk about the next one, we had a new agenda come out, so y'all do know there's 4 appeals today. So just wanted to make sure you knew that. Go ahead and give us a brief on the next case.
Mr. Chairman, the next appeal is Larry Clinton, and this is convictions for theft up to $1,000, theft of property $10,000 to $60,000, attempted theft $10,000 to $60,000, and forgery. And the commission would have discretion to deny until May of 2028. And if Mr. Clinton is here.
Come on up to the podium and address us. And what would you like to tell us?
Well, I've been around a long time. I started Hippodrome Oldsmobile in 1983 to Bill Trickett to when he died. I've been in the car business 35 years. I am GM certified. Now, the conviction I have here, it is over with. I work for Jerry Pooh. Y'all know him, Jerry Pooh of Peggy's Auto Sales. If this was a conviction of all this theft of property, how come there's only $500 worth of restitution that is paid? Very well known. I know very well dealers. I know everybody in the auto business, used auto car business. I've been in it my whole life. I have completed what I was supposed to done, and that's all I can say is, but I hope y'all give me a chance to get these salesman's license because I'm on disability and this is a part-time job.
Can you give us some background on your arrest and
Yes, sir. I
where
owned
it
the vehicle.
stands?
I bought 5 cars from Jerry Pooh. I worked for him from 2012 to 2018. I had a car that he sold me, and I was driving it on the dealer tag. It was valued at $10,000. I got a ticket in it. He paid the ticket because when you get a ticket with the dealer tag, it automatically goes to the dealer. He knew I had the car, but when I quit him, when he had brain cancer, he get me for theft. It was almost thrown out of general session court, but when you run out of money to pay for a lawyer, you get a public defender.
Any questions from commissioners?
So have you had any issues, Commissioner Vaughn, have you had any issues since this conviction? Have you had any complaints about you to the Motor Vehicle Commission?
Any what, ma'am?
Complaints?
I filed a complaint against Jerry Pooh.
No, have you had a complaint filed against you?
No, ma'am.
Do you know and understand the laws of the state of Tennessee and also, importantly, how you use a dealer tag and how you don't use a dealer tag?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Norton, could you explain what you were doing in the car again? I mean, were you selling the car on the side, or what were you doing?
He was selling me the car and told me I was issued 3 dealer tags by him. I was driving the car to buy the car. Then when I decided, see, he had brain cancer. Then when I decided to quit because I couldn't keep working 7 days a week, he decided to report the car stolen, but he had just paid the ticket for me with a dealer tag with a ticket in it.
Say dealer tag. Are you talking about a hard tag?
Yes, sir. The red tag.
So you don't have any remorse about it? You did anything wrong?
I have remorse about it. I said I should have handled it a little better than the way I did it. As far as keeping up with the dealer tag, getting paperwork on the car that he sold me. But I bought 5 cars from the man.
Vaughn, I have another question. So you said that he issued you 3 dealer tags?
Yes, ma'am.
So those were what you used when you were working for him? Or?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I'm just trying to make sure it's not a driver.
Oh, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. I was working. I was kind of like the assistant general manager of his dealership. So I took care of all the cars, checking them in. We done a 30-day inventory every time the cars come in and everything. He knew what the cars were.
Did he request that you turn it in and you refused to? Is that why?
Oh, no, sir. He never requested me to turn it in. He got the car back in excellent condition and sold it for what the car was worth. But how did I get a $500 restitution fee and nothing else? Don't make sense.
Explain to me the $500. Explain to me how you were charged with stealing $500 on that transaction.
I wasn't charged with stealing $500. I was charged with paying $500 restitution.
A court fine? Is that what that is? It's a court fine?
I presume. But they said I had to pay it to him, so I paid it to his estate.
When you quit, were you intending to buy the vehicle?
Yes, I still had the vehicle.
Had you purchased the vehicle?
Not generally paperwork wise.
What evidence did he have when you quit that you were still planning to purchase the vehicle?
He didn't. It's all hearsay here and there.
Did he bring the suit, or did his estate bring the suit against you?
After the state brought the suit, and you know how the state does, they bring up suit. But it doesn't even make sense if you're charged with $10,000 and he got the car back and sold it for more than what it was worth, and you only get a $500.
But was there any paperwork
Pardon
was there any paperwork about
scribbling
your sale?
paperwork?
Okay, so you have the car, you quit.
I had the car for 3 months.
Understand. When you were working.
Yeah.
And then you quit.
Yeah.
And you kept driving the car.
Yep.
And what steps did you take to pay for the car?
Pardon me?
What steps did you take to pay for the car after
we
you
hadn't
quit?
we hadn't settled on exactly what he was going to charge me for it, but he had brain cancer and it was starting to take effect. That's what he died of, and it's starting to take effect of his memory and everything. He had put in $5,000 on a check and writing him for $50,000. I guess with me quitting, because I was kind of like his right hand man, I done everything.
I understand that. I just don't understand why there's no steps that you took to pay for the car. There's no evidence that you were going to pay
when
for
he
the car.
reported the
Had the
car-
state not caught you and he died, were you planning on paying his estate?
I gave the car. He got the car back. He come and got the car.
After you got arrested?
Pardon me? No, it was before I got arrested. And sold it for what it was worth.
Mike's not on.
How long was it before you quit, before you gave the car back?
Within 30 days, ma'am.
When was the arrest relative to all that quitting?
Well, it started in 2016. It didn't really end to 2019.
But when did the police actually come and say, we got you?
Well,
relative to when you quit.
It took them a long time to figure it out because they couldn't really make a case out of it either because there was so much back and forth.
But I mean, at some point, some officer got you. And
Well,
how long?
He didn't get me. He called me, and I come up there.
Okay, but what was the timeline? I guess between you said you returned the car before they arrested you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Well, I told him where it was. He come and got it.
Okay, and then they arrested you like a week later, a month later. Do you remember?
Like 3 weeks later.
3 weeks after
He called me and asked me to come up there. He turned it over to the
3 weeks
district
after you
attorney.
returned the car.
He turned it over to the district attorney, and he said they found it, so I went up there.
Okay.
I'm still confused. It sounds like you were working for Mr. Poole.
Yes.
You had a car that belonged to the dealership that you were riding on a dealer tag.
Correct.
You intended to buy the car, but had
Correct.
not paid for it or done the paperwork yet.
Right.
You quit, And at some point, they got the car back and said that you're using it without permission, essentially stealing it.
Exactly, that's what they said, sir.
So what part of that isn't accurate in the sense of you driving their property apparently without their permission on their dealer tag?
I had their permission.
It doesn't
He
sound
knew,
that
he
way.
knew I had the car. All he had to, and when he called and asked for it, I gave it to him.
Commissioner Vaughn, I have a couple more questions. How many car dealerships have you worked at in the past?
Bill Trickett, Steve Smith, Tom Bannon was last. I quit General Motors in 2010 when they went into bankruptcy. I work for used car dealerships now.
Any other questions for Mr. Clinton? If not, we really need to hear from somebody you brought with you. Let's let him come up and tell us who he is and what he does, in regards to your employment.
sir.
Okay?
Hey, board, John Devaccio, leader dealer. I've been an independent car dealer on my own since 2014. Family's been in the business, been selling cars for a long time. And through the seasons of business, I've had many employees, and I've seen a lot of situations happen, and not knowing exact details of Larry's past, giving him a fresh opportunity of a clean slate. He came work with me, and I can say with a complete confident conscience, he's one of the most honest employees I've ever had. He's bought a car for me, paid me every penny I wanted down on it, paid every note on time. And it's been over a year. He takes care of his business. I run a lean ship. It's me, Larry, and a detail guy. And I'm really the main salesperson. I love being on the front lines. That's where I get my kicks. Larry inspires confidence in me. He helps me get my vehicles ready for sale. And he's very cordial, very courteous, very considerate. Has a high level of just like wow etiquette, which is my company's philosophy. Supreme service, that's our purpose. Larry Clinton, not knowing or judging him from any of his past, just judging him from the daily report that we've had in working with each other. He's a great guy. I wouldn't hesitate to give him a salesperson license. I just want him to be on the right side to be able to quote some prices to my customers if I'm gone. He's not going to be drawing up any paperwork or handling any titles or anything like that. And I will vouch for him.
Okay. Any questions?
Commissioner Vaughn, have you appeared before the Motor Vehicle Commission before?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you appear?
I appeared on behalf of Charlotte Auto Sales approximately a decade ago for Philip Jackson.
You had any complaints filed against you with the Motor Vehicle Commission?
As far as
from consumers?
From consumers, I've had a couple that have it's been resolved. All have been resolved.
What were they related to?
Most recent one was related to a project vehicle I sold, or that a salesperson at the time had sold. It was supposed to be like a rebuildable project in process type vehicle, but they issued him a temporary tag, and kind of let him drive it on out of there. And so that was the complaint on that one. I believe they tried to kind of not extort me out of some more discount. Like the guy got an awesome deal on a 2-door Tahoe for like $8,000. Those things like tripled in value this past year. And then I don't know, he still, after discovering like a little wiring thing, he kept wanting for me to like surrender more a rebate or something back to him. I was like, no, man, bought it as is. And then but I did tell him what I would help you with is the rebuild process to obtain the title where you can tag it. And he said, okay, yeah, go ahead with it. And I did. And so that was the most recent one. And ones prior, it was probably like on a repo complaint, or I don't believe there have been, maybe only one or two since I've been independent dealer for the past 10 years. Prior to that, Charlotte, I had a lot more often.
All of those were reported to the Motor Vehicle Commission?
Yes, case I was citing was, I believe, Motor Vehicle Commission decided, perhaps last hearing or hearing before last, on a $5,000 fine that we paid.
Are you a buy here, pay here lot? Is that what it is?
Yes, ma'am. Do my own lot financing.
Other questions?
Commissioner Galvin, in my state, I just have a hard time with this scenario. There's some missing pieces, I think, what's going on. And then the fact that you bring up your boss and he has brain damage, that was the main reason. I mean, I just don't know if this story is legit. I mean, we need more clarity, in my opinion. I just don't feel comfortable.
I can mention I do have I run kind of a tight ship and keep a close watch on all my inventory and parts, and there has been nothing I've noticed that's been missing. There's no conversion or diversions I've seen from Larry. I would say has a fiduciary interest, in the business as well. He's helped me grow. I have half the employees and I do twice the business right now.
And I understand that, and I see the sincerity in what you're saying. But with you, Larry, when you coming up here, I don't see that. I don't see the apologetic, in what I did. I feel like you're more, pushing, hey, this is what happens, this is how it's going to be, and this is what it is. This is my opinion. We're here to give you a second chance, but I feel like I haven't seen that yet from you of what you said.
I agree. I believe Larry does have some unresolved resentments regarding the situation with Mr. Poole. From what I hear, Mr. Poole did work him very hard, like no days off, and wasn't a nice guy to work for, from what I hear.
Hey.
Commissioner Jackson, just for the staff, Mr. Clinton, what he just outlined, his past, did we find anything in the record other than what he initially was charged with that we may be missing?
No, I don't believe so. And you've got it all there. He is correct that there is a document that does indicate a $500 restitution to Jerry Poole. Documented. Plays out the attempted theft and.
I noticed he said he worked at numerous of dealership prior to this one, so it's nothing in there from any other dealership that he might work with that
Let us look it up in the system really quickly, and then we'll ensure that there's nothing else involved with his name. Under that provided name, we didn't find anything else in our files.
Commissioner Norton, did I miss something on the forgery? Where does the forgery come into play on this?
That would be a question for the applicant.
Larry, can you come back to the podium and explain to us what the forgery part of that is? What did you forge? What were you alleged to forge?
Well, I was alleged to forge the title of the car that I never had. I never had the title. He had the title. And that couldn't have been proved. That wasn't proven in court. It was just what they gave. And I am remorseful for what happened, Mr. Galvin. I've been around a long time. I've been up there with your business where it grows. I've set up accounts with your business from Leader Dealer.
It indicates.
Hey, Commissioner Norton again. I guess I agree with Commissioner Galvin. I mean, understand you got in a bad situation, obviously, but your remorse for being here is not very tasteful.
Well, I apologize.
Well, I mean, and we're trying to put this together to help you, and you're just not making it easy for us. So I just, and then you bring the dealer up here, and in my opinion, he didn't help himself either. So I'm having a hard time feeling good about what you're doing today. I really am. I mean, you seem like a nice enough guy, but I've been doing this 38 years. I'm just picking up a lot of bad signals on this. I really am.
Or you feel it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm here. We come here every quarter to help people get a fresh start over. But I mean, it's just, I agree with him. This story just doesn't fit with me.
Quick question: was your court case, was it a jury decision, or was it? Did you settle and say I'll take?
settled.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Regarding the forgery, you said you were accused of forgery, but you never had possession of the title.
Oh, ma'am, I didn't.
So how did they accuse you of the forgery?
However they incorporate all these things, I don't know how they do that, ma'am.
Is it your practice in dealerships that you've worked at in the past to have access to a dealer tag for a vehicle that you purchased and you just continue to
ma'am.
drive the car without ever properly titling it?
Well, ma'am, we hadn't made the decision on buying the car yet. He never gave a final price on it, and I was driving it back and forth from work.
Yeah, but I'm saying other vehicles at other dealerships. Have you had that type of agreement that you could drive a car and you're going to buy it, but then you just continue to drive it on a dealer tag instead of registering it?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, that's the question. That's the challenge I have. I mean, unfortunately, we terminate employees. We have to. It happens. Employees quit, but when they do, they usually surrender the property. I mean, that's the problem I got. I mean, I don't understand why you kept the car. You didn't work there anymore.
Or the dealer tag.
Or the dealer tag, yeah.
Kept the car.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he had the other two. I only had that one.
You said you had 3 at one time.
I did, but he had the other 2 in his office.
Okay. All right. Have we heard enough? What's your pleasure on this appeal?
Make a motion that we uphold the denial.
Commissioner Jackson, what's that? Second that.
Further discussion. Executive Director Lawrence, will you call the roll on this vote?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The motion is to uphold the denial, and the motion was made by Commissioner Vaughn, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Levy?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner West?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Melton? Votes aye. Commissioner Elam? Votes aye. Commissioner Andrews?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Speaker?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Galvin?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Vaughn?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Jackson?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Owens?
Aye.
Votes aye. And Chairman Roberts?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Hey. Thank you for coming before us. Sorry we couldn't help you. Okay, next case.
Next appeal, Mr. Chairman, is April Lopez, and this is convictions for aggravated burglary of a motor vehicle, and the commission would have discretion to deny until August of 2027.
Hey, Ms. Lopez, would you like to tell us about your circumstances?
Back when I was
Come a little closer to the mic.
okay.
There we go.
This happened when I was 19 years old. I kind of made a mistake. I was hanging around a group of wrong type of friends growing up, and what happened was I was never like actually the one that went inside the houses or went inside the cars. I always stayed in the cars, so I was more like of accessory instead of actually committing them. What I want today is I want to have a chance to be able to change, have a better future for my life. I know I made mistakes in my past. I'm trying to overcome them and have a better future. I'm getting kind of nervous. Okay, so like I don't really have to like know what you're like wanting me to say, like, and besides, like, you know, I wasn't like, I made a mistake and I don't regret it. I actually learned from those mistakes that I made. I don't hang around anybody anymore. I have a fiance. He has a stepchild. I have a stepchild. He has a kid. And I'm just trying really to move forward with my life and, have a better future and not let my past stop me from being able to move forward in life and have a better opportunity in life. I get real emotional.
We have some questions.
Yes, but can you go ahead and tell us a little bit more about your charge, elaborate a little bit more about your charge and how long it's been and...
In 10 years, I'll be 30 years old, February 20th. I'm sorry, I just get real emotional because I don't like talking about these things. I was with a group of people and we went to a house, okay, and I stayed in the car. The boys got out. They went inside the house. Nobody was inside the house. It was a house that was by itself. I guess they took things from inside the house. The things that were inside the house, they went to a pawn shop. They wanted to go pawn it. I went with my AD. I was the only adult at the time. I was 19, and the rest of the people were like 17, 18. 17 fixing to be 18, so they all got charged as juveniles. I was the only one that got charged as an adult. So they went to juvenile. They got released the next day. I got put on the news for the fourth suspect at 19. The police did not come find me. I actually went and turned myself in to the police department. I got I think it was 17 charges at that time, and the judge said if I pled guilty to the ones that I have, that they will throw out the rest. I got 3 years probation. I think it was 5 years, 3 years probation, and then in Williamson County, after that, yes, we did continue to go burglarize cars, but I was the only one that I stayed in the car. The boys got out. The police caught us. Even though I was still in the car, they still charged me with the same charges. They were adults at that time, so they didn't go to juvenile. They went to jail. And then altogether, the state put me 3 years probation here in Nashville, 2 years in Williamson County, which was a total of 5 years of probation. When I was 19 years old, I did leave the state of Tennessee, and I left to Texas and stayed out of Texas, Tennessee for 5 years. I came back to Tennessee when I was 25 years old. I went and wanted to fix these problems that I had so that I can have a better future. So I went to my old attorney, my public defender, which is Georgia Sims. I went to her and asked her if she could help me because I wanted to have a better life, and she had no problems helping me. She said, I will most definitely help you in this April. She set a court date for me for the violation probation for 5 years, and Judge Dozier, I had to stand in front of him like I'm standing in front of you guys, which was like, it wasn't as long as this, so I was more like, I was still nervous, but I got through it. And they gave me 8 months probation to complete, and for the 5 years that I had left the state for, the judge said he would give me 8 months, that he would keep an eye on me. I completed the 8 months of probation. I sent the probation, I don't know what it's called, the release of my probation, I sent that to the commission. I took all those steps that I needed to take to be able to be where I'm at today. And all I really want to do is just have a better life and a better future, and not let this stuff that happened when I was a teenager. I come from a troubled home. Ever since I was 13, I've been in and out of state custody and just had a bad life growing up. And I just want to have a better life and live a normal life like everybody else, in work, come home, take care of my family.
Can you tell us about the probation? So you went to Texas, you avoided, you broke your probation rules.
Sir.
So you came back, you had 8 months. Has that been completed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long's that been?
In 2000, I was 25, so 26, 27, 3 or 4 years now. Because I came back to Tennessee when I was 25, and that's when I said, I don't want to be living in Tennessee and have problems. I want to be able to fix this and take care of this so later on in the future it doesn't catch up to me, and then, I'm 30 years old sitting in jail, and that's just not a place that I want to be.
Okay. I think we've heard enough to get started on questions. Commissioner Vaughn, I think you wanted to ask one.
Commissioner Vaughn, so have you had any issues since this? So was it one arrest for aggravated burglary and then the motor vehicle?
It all happened so on the aggravated burglary, I got out of jail. I got bonded out of jail. Once I got released, I went and started hanging around the same people that I was hanging around with, and we continued to do those same things. Besides houses, we did the vehicles. And then after that,
You were caught again? Or
no. I got caught for the vehicles in Williamson County, but after that, I haven't seen those people since then. And I feel like me leaving the Texas was probably the best thing for me, because I probably would have still continued maybe to hang around those same people and maybe not would have learned anything better for myself, So when I stayed gone in Texas, my life wasn't easy over there either. I got addicted to a drug. I was on a drug for 5 years, 4 years, from 20 to 3 years, 20 to 23, and then I got baptized and started becoming more closer to God and wanting to know more about God.
Are you in any kind of support program?
I have a personal relationship with him, with God. I feel like I don't need a support program, because the drug that I was on was like a synthetic weed. It was the synthetic weed, and in Texas, a lot of people were on that. And I guess just me hanging around the wrong type of people lingered me. I can't say they made me do those things, I chose to do those things, but I feel like it was more like the people that I hung around with, I had the urge to try those things. So, and then when I came back to Tennessee, I was just, ready to just make start over a new life and try to be a better person. I also feel like I have a story. I want to start a better future, and hopefully in the future, I want to get involved into group youth environments to try to do inspirational, motivational speaking for youths at juveniles and group homes. So that's something also that I kind of want to use my experience as a child, 13, growing up here in Nashville and experiencing a lot of things, too much. I don't want to get too much into here, because it's not really the place to bring up everything. It's like a whole story. So, I I feel like I have a story and the experience to be able to maybe inspire and try to help other youths, from learning from my experience. But what I need to take that next step is to be able to have a good job, and, supportive people that, would say, hey, April, she's not like this no more, she's changed. And
April, this is what we're trying to help you do. So that's what you're here for, is so that we can try to help you and understand what happened, but also do the right thing for the state of Tennessee, because we have a duty and obligation to protect the citizens of the state of Tennessee. So that's what we're doing, and we want to help you, but we need to understand, can you move forward and follow the letter of the law and do what you're supposed to do? One more question for you. The probation violation warrant will you explain what that
the probation violation warrant was from when I had left to Texas.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. You'd left
Yes,
the state.
ma'am. I had left to Texas, and the 5 years that I didn't come back to Tennessee. But as soon as I got back, I reached out to Georgia Sims, and she had no hesitation to help.
Further questions?
Any questions for her?
I've got one more question, Commissioner, over here. Can you tell us why you came back to Tennessee?
My father's here, and in Texas I had no more family because my father left and came back to Tennessee. I feel like Tennessee is my home. I was originally born in Illinois, Harvey, Illinois, and so we moved to Tennessee when I was in the 4th grade. I grew up on Thompson Place and Murfreesboro Road.
Sure, Galvin. Can we hear from your boss, please?
But did you finish, ma'am, with everything you wanted to say? I know you just need to take a moment for. Come on up closer.
Sorry to bring it up things from the past.
I understand. But do you have anything else you need to say right now?
No, sir.
Okay, let's hear from your person of support and tell us your name and what role you play in her job.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Max Hosseini. I'm the owner of a small used car dealership in Nashville. We are running it together as a family with my wife and my brother, and we needed somebody else, and find out about some friends that Miss Lopez was looking for a job, and she had the experience. I contacted Miss Lopez, and to begin with, whenever she came to the dealership, she was totally honest and upfront with me and told me everything about the past that I needed to know. Even though she was upfront, I told her immediately that she was hired with us as an assistant. And it's been almost 2 months, and I noticed the way she's talking to the customers, doing the customer service, and taking care of customers. It is a very nice way, respectful, very courteous, and my customers love her because she's treating them with respect and honesty, and that's why we applied for the salesman license. And here we are. If there is any other question, I'm here to answer you.
Do you believe that you will have the time and the oversight to help her?
Of course I will. My wife and I, we will have the time to help Miss Lopez every day, and no doubt about it.
You said she had experience. What experience are you speaking of?
About the customer service. She worked at a different place, and she saw the people. She saw it. She didn't do the sales never by herself, but she worked at a place and she learned the job. That's why I was very happy to start with.
Where was that? Did I miss that? Where?
One thing I would like to add, in the past 2 months, every day my wife and I, we are working Miss Lopez and trying to teach her everything we know about the customer service and all the stuff that she needs to know. Basically, every day is learning process for for Miss April, my wife, and I, all three of us.
Where is your dealership located?
On Knowlesville Road.
Okay.
Questions? Pleasure on this appeal.
Commissioner Jackson, I motion that we grant her the license.
Second.
Further discussion? Executive Director Lawrence, will you call the roll for this vote?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the motion is to grant licensure. Commissioner Levy?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner West?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Melton? Votes aye. Commissioner Elam? Votes aye. Commissioner Andrews?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Speaker?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Galvin?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Vaughn?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Jackson?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Owens?
Aye.
Votes aye. And Chairman Roberts.
Aye.
The motion carries. We will email you an electronic copy of your license today.
Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate your time. Thank you. You all have a
Take good care of her, okay? Next case.
Chairman, the next appeal is SOS LLC, William Boykin. Convictions for forgery, 5 counts of theft of property, and attempted theft of property. And the commission would have discretion to deny until July of 28.
Boykin, would you like to address us and tell us your story?
Okay. 13 years ago, I got in trouble. I was buying some construction equipment and thought it was repossessed, and it turned out to be stolen. And that's what the whole issue was with that. But that's 13 years ago. There's not been anything since then. I did all my probation. No issues, no problems. Restitution was made.
You're applying for a dealer's license or a
Yes.
salesman?
No, dealer license.
Dealer, okay. Questions?
Yeah, what did you steal? Specifically.
Well, it was several skid steers and a Mini X. I purchased them. I thought they were repossessed. The gentleman that I was purchasing from evidently stole them.
Have a bill of sale?
Yes, but that didn't stand up in court.
Bought it in good faith, didn't you?
I'm sorry?
You bought it in good faith, didn't you, with a bill of
Yes,
sale?
I did. But
You
that's
still prosecuted?
The court didn't. That was an issue that we couldn't find the gentleman that I was getting them from. He just disappeared, and so there wasn't any way to back it up.
How much was the restitution?
It was around $50,000.
You paid it?
Thanks, paid.
What have you been doing since then? Give us a little of your history.
I buy and sell. Mostly appliances. I've been doing that for 30 years, and we were doing some remodeling and a little bit of that. So,
Commissioner Speaker, can you talk about the forgery charge?
that was part of all this. The issue with that was we had a vehicle that a young lady at the bank gave me the title to, and evidently she wasn't supposed to, and it came back, and that was the whole deal with that.
So it wasn't related to the construction equipment? It's something separate?
Well, it was all part of that because I had a loan at the bank where I had been, like I said, been buying and selling the equipment. And I had my personal vehicle was tied up with that, and I went to sell it, and like I said, the young lady at the bank got me the title, and when evidently she wasn't supposed to.
Commissioner Vaughn, did you have to make restitution to the bank
Yes,
as well?
it was everything was paid.
Have you been a car dealer before? Have you ever had a license
About
to sell?
40 years ago.
Was it in the state of Tennessee?
Yes.
Was that license revoked, suspended, or anything? Did you have any complaints against you?
No.
Before the Motor Vehicle Commission?
Mr. Norton, did you have any prior arrests to this?
No.
Where do you want to set up shop with this operation you want to open up?
I've got a building already in Lebanon, 219 West Gay Street. It's a acre and a half with about a 2,300 square foot building. The entire lot is fenced in with a security gate. So we've been there since July.
Bring a character witness with you today or anybody?
No, but if you need references, I can provide you with several.
Help for this.
Mr. Boykin, can you tell us something about you? Tell us who you are. Tell us some good stuff about you. We're hearing all this bad stuff. Tell us what you've done that make us feel good.
Well, I'm a lifelong resident of Lebanon. I sold real estate there for 20 years. My family's entrenched in Lebanon. Hobbs Real Estate, that was my uncle's. I did work for them for several years. Basically, I've just, I've been there, and once again, I can provide plenty of character references if we need some.
You have a realtor's license?
Yes, sir.
For 20 years?
Yes.
Did you ever have any problems with that? Any
No, but
reprimands or?
I lost my real estate and appraisal license when I went through this ordeal with the construction equipment. Of course, the state revokes any license you have. When you have a felony conviction, I lost my real estate appraisal. I had a general contractor's license, electrical and plumbing.
This was 13 years ago, and you haven't had any other problems?
Issues.
You ever had a speeding ticket?
Sorry?
Speeding ticket?
Nothing.
Yeah. Admire you for that one.
Jackson, just for the staff, he's applying for a used dealership, correct? So all the necessary, the bonding and the building, has all that been inspected by the staff? Is all that up to par? The wall, and make sure it's one dwelling place? Okay. Okay.
Commissioner Vaughn, I have one more question. Do you know and understand the laws of the state of Tennessee as related to the motor vehicle dealer license that you're asking for?
Yes, I believe so.
And bless you for sneezing.
I'm sorry?
I said bless you to him.
One question. In relation to beginning to sell vehicles now, as opposed to going out and buying equipment, which is different. You have titles to vehicles where you don't own
You have
equipment.
titles to the vehicles.
Exactly. So how did you come about purchasing that equipment in the very beginning? How did that come about?
A friend of mine referred this gentleman that was selling to me. He would call me up and say, "Oh, I picked up 2 pieces," and we would meet him. A lot of times it was at a Lowe's or a Home Depot parking lot. He'd take it off his trailer, we'd put it on ours. And once again, we got a bill of sale, but once all of it started, he was long gone. So, and I try not to touch anything that doesn't have a title.
Comments? If not, do we have a motion for something on this appeal?
Commissioner Jackson, I motion that we grant him the license for his dealership.
Commissioner Vaughn, second.
Further discussion? Executive Director Lawrence, will you call the roll for the vote?
Yes, sir. The motion is to grant licensure to Mr. Boykin. Commissioner Levy?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner West?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Melton? Votes aye. Commissioner Elam? Votes aye. Commissioner Andrews?
Nay.
Votes no. Commissioner Speaker?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Galvin?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Norton?
Aye.
Votes aye, Commissioner Vaughn.
Aye.
Votes aye, Commissioner Jackson.
Aye.
Votes aye, Commissioner Kramer.
Aye.
Votes aye, Commissioner Owens.
Aye.
Votes aye, and Chairman Roberts.
Aye.
Votes aye. The motion carries. We will get your dealer license processed, and I think they still have the inspection to do, so,
Need to come out and do the inspection.
great. We will get started with that today.
I'd like to make a comment after voting. I still vote aye, but I'd recommend you getting the rule book. I think you have a copy of one right here. It's the blue rule book, and I'd read it, and I would advise you not to show up here with any problems because we won't be as nice next time.
I understand
I'd like to
completely.
second that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And where can I get a rule book?
Executive Director Lawrence can get you one.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, Director's report. Ms. Lawrence, if you're ready.
I am ready. I apologize.
It's okay.
We have basically maintained the status quo. Again, our licensure times are really carrying many other reg boards that the department oversees because we have such a low amount of turnaround. The turnaround is really quick for our licensure. If you'll notice, we've listed the active licenses as of October of 2023, and again, they remain steady with the one exception of representatives. We're down about 200 representatives, and I'm not sure what that's due to, but interesting enough that I'll probably look into. We have collected through our disciplinary action between June and September $211,000. A lot of that is largely due to the one big fine that we had back in April. And that's really all I have.
Hey. We have a motion to accept the director's report.
Mr. Jackson, motion that we adopt the director's report.
Commissioner Vaughn, second.
Further discussion? Executive Director Lawrence, will you call the roll for a vote to approve your report?
Motion is to adopt the director's report. Commissioner Levy?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner West? Votes aye. Commissioner Melton? Votes aye. Commissioner Elam? Votes aye. Commissioner Andrews?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Speaker?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Galvin?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Norton? Votes aye. Commissioner Vaughn?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Jackson?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Owens?
Aye.
Votes aye. And Chairman Roberts?
Aye.
Votes aye. You have adopted the director's report.
Okay, next is the legal report. Who wants to speak to that?
Okay, we just have a few changes that were discussed during the committee meeting. The first one is number 9, and we're going to add to the recommendation, flagging the employee's F&I folder just for their involvement within that complaint. Number 17, we're going to add to the $1,000 fine, opening a complaint against the involved auction, just to look into their involvement with that complaint as well and the delay in getting the title. Number 25, it should read 12 temporary tags total instead of 13. After we received that investigation report and issued this report to you guys, we learned that one was actually a duplicate, so it was only 12 temporary tags that were issued. So the fine should be $5,000 instead of the $5,500 listed. And then number 110, we're going to add to the recommendation that they should have a letter of warning that they should have. Let me go ahead and get the actual reading of it so I can read it all to you. So the recommendation should read, authorize issuing a letter of instruction pertaining to respondent's failure to disclose and obtain the registration payment information to complainant. And then that was all the changes that were made in the committee meeting.
Commissioner Jackson, a motion that we adopt with the changes of the legal report that we adopted.
We have a second.
Commissioner Vaughn, second.
Further discussion? Executive Director Lawrence, will you call the roll for the vote?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. The motion is to adopt the legal report as amended by the legal committee. Commissioner Levy?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner West? Votes aye. Commissioner Melton?
Aye.
Votes aye. Commissioner Elam? Votes aye. Commissioner Andrews?
Aye.
That's aye, Commissioner Speaker.
Aye.
That's aye, Commissioner Galvin.
Aye.
That's aye, Commissioner Norton. That's aye, Commissioner Vaughn.
Aye.
That's aye, Commissioner Jackson.
Aye.
That's aye, Commissioner Kramer. That's aye, Commissioner Owens.
Aye.
That's aye, and Chairman Roberts.
Aye.
That's aye. You have adopted the legal report.
Okay, next, do we have anything in legislative update?
Mr. Chairman, just wanted to mention that since the last protest hearing, where the commission had to get together to decide the petition for reconsideration, there's been some discussion among the attorneys and staff about potentially looking at a rule that would delegate that authority to the chairman. There's a current rule in the procedures for hearing contested cases that says a multi-member agency may authorize the chair or any other of its members to grant or deny petitions for reconsideration of final orders. So we're talking about that now and what language may be appropriate, but I just wanted to give the commission a heads up that we may be bringing that to you as a recommendation. We would need to get the Rules Committee together to look at that, but we'll be looking at that language and bringing you a recommendation at the next meeting potentially.
Thank you.
And can I add, I'm probably the only one that this needs to be dumbed down for, but I think it's important to note the reason that we want to do this is because the request for reconsideration was filed so late. I think they had 20 days within which to file it, so that in order for us to respond, the commission to respond, we were notified so late and we had to get a meeting together very quickly. And if we had not, then their request for reconsideration would have been automatically denied. I think the purpose here would be just to allow the chair to say, yes, we'll hear it, we'll hear your reconsideration, and that would have stopped the clock. So it wouldn't have run out. We could have then set a hearing for later on down the road instead of having to immediately do that. So
That was getting the 9 commissioners together that heard the hearing
Yes,
in the
sir.
first place.
Yes, sir.
Which
Yeah.
makes it a little more complicated.
Yeah, this just gives us a little bit more time when dealing with those. They have 15 days after the order is issued to decide if they're going to petition or not. And once they do that, they file it. We have 20 days from the date of filing in order to get all the commission members together, or a quorum of the ones that were involved together in order to decide on that. This kind of gives the chair the ability to say, hey, we're going to hear this, we're going to set it, and that gives us longer than the 20 days, so we can maybe hear at the next commission meeting or at a time that works better for everybody else, so we don't have to do kind of what we had to do last time.
Okay. We need to vote on this report since we had a report, or we okay? All right. All right.
one last question
Okay.
before a motion to adjourn is made. Could you raise your hands if you have a state-issued ID, if you still have a state-issued ID? Because I'm trying to get a count. Yes, expired ones, yes. Okay.
I may have one, I'm not
Okay.
sure.
You took mine.
I took yours, I'm sorry. So,
Thought I
okay.
turned mine in too, but maybe I don't know.
Okay. I'm just trying, I think we're going to issue IDs again, so I'm just trying to get an idea of who needs one. Thank you.
Parking passes sound lovely, I'm just saying.
Before,
Reports, we don't have anything in audit or rules at this time? Any new business?
I just raised one.
Yes.
Kind of going back to what we were just discussing on
Okay.
coming back, and not to get into the details of the case because I don't think we can do that, but just the procedure in general. I know when we hear those things and then we draft our order, we do it a bit concisely, and then we allow the staff to come back and put the details on it. I presume we could, if we wanted to, all sit here for the rest of the day and come out with all 50 findings of facts and 20 findings of law. Nobody wants to do that, which is why we don't do it. But to avoid a scenario where they're questioning what we actually decided, is there not a chance? Because I presume the staff works with the chairman to finalize that document, and so any questions would be resolved for the chairman, same way they'd be resolved on whether we want to consider a motion to reconsider. I'm just making sure the staff's okay doing it the way we do it and not having us all somehow be involved in a review of the final report that the staff puts together.
Yeah, I think this is the first time. We've had a few of these protests in the past, and this is the first time we've had an issue. I think this was just an extremely contentious one where they were both kind of arguing on minuscule wording of things, and I don't think this will be a typical problem going forward, but the chair and I, or the chair and Erica, depending on whose case it is, we work pretty hand in hand on completing that, and usually they're satisfied with what comes out with what the chair decides based off the information that we received from you, but you can go through and vote on each fact and each conclusion of law. There are some boards that do that, but these protests are a little bit longer and a little bit more complicated, so as opposed to a normal disciplinary hearing. So I think that's kind of why we don't do that in those, just because they usually last longer than a day already, and so we could be sitting here for a lot longer going through every single fact and conclusion of law that we want to get to, but you can do that. But I think the system we have now works fine. I think this was just a kind of outlier of a case.
Maybe just for the rest of the commission, to the extent there is a particular fact or particular ruling that we really want to emphasize as not gets misconstrued, maybe we do put that one on the record.
Yes,
when we do make our group decision.
Yeah, and you can go into as much detail as you want within that voting, and if there's a specific fact that somebody wants in there, they can motion for it, and you guys can vote on it, or a specific wording of something you can motion on and vote on it, and then the chair and I, or the chair and Erica, depending on whose case it is, can kind of evolve that and get deeper into the order as we work on it.
On that last one, was there any, has either party appealed our decision on the motion to reconsideration?
No.
Okay.
Commissioner, I just want to echo, Chairman said it earlier in the upper room. We got a very good commissioner group. I really, really commend Commissioner Levy on that last hearing. He saw some things. I think we all saw it. And especially, and without getting into the case, I mean, it wasn't being proved, and I think that really helped us when you made the motion. Let's stay away from this part of the case because the evidence is not supporting it, and let's move on what was important. And I think that really, really us get through that case. Kind of continue.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate the rest of the commission. Because it was so contentious, allowing me to maybe try to get it to the point that we all needed to be here talking about. And even though it might not necessarily be in the nature of so many dealers to have gone that way. But anyway, thank you very much for your words, and I appreciate that.
Any new business?
Chairman, I'd like a refresh. Just a refresh of something I brought up probably over a year ago about e-titling. I was at D.C. this September, and we had a speaker from AMVA, and that I just want to make sure all the dealers are aware that is still something that we need in the state of Tennessee. We still have a dialogue with Chairman I do with Allison Raymer, and Denise has been involved. But I think that's something we need to be mindful of. A lot of our problems come from titling, right? We have a lot of issues, customer service, clerks, just across the board. So just have an understanding that that's something I think Tennessee is going to lead to. I don't know when, but it's got to happen. More states are coming on board with it. It's not an easy thing. It takes time. It takes a commitment, and I think we need to press that as well. Even if it's not our purview, I think it's something part of our mission is to empower the consumer, and I think that is one place we can make the biggest difference in their lives right there by e-titling.
I would encourage Commissioner Norton to make sure you let myself and the legal know where we are and what we need to be doing to work on this and get it faster down the line.
I think we keep a dialogue with this body, with Allison Raymer in that office, and because they've got a lot of projects they're working on,
sure.
And the bureaucracy it's slow. It's slow in every state, and that's a commitment that I don't know if I'll see in my tenure, but I think we better serve the state and the consumers if we stay aware of it, all the dealer bodies, and push.
Yeah, and Commissioner Norton, if you have any materials on that, like summary materials, would be appropriate to share with me. If you didn't mind sending them directly my way, I'd enjoy seeing that.
Okay, I guess we're supposed to ask for public comment just for anything that was on the agenda today. Do we have anything? All right, we can look for an adjournment. Got a motion?
So moved. Commissioner Vaughn.
Commissioner Jackson, second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I bet not.